Welcome to 50 Plus in Montgomery County, a monthly program that is a voice for many and produced by the Commission on Aging, of which I'm a community member. This show is insightful for people of all ages, and each episode takes a fresh look at important issues by spotlighting older adults in the community, representatives of services and programs, and activities of interest to older adults. My name is Katie Smith. On this month's show, we're going to talk about fire safety and empowering voters. Joining me is Ralph Watkins. Ralph is a volunteer with the League of Women Voters in Montgomery County. Hi, Ralph.
Good afternoon. Thanks for inviting us.
I'm so glad that you're able to join us. Well, Ralph, let's go ahead and jump right in. Can you tell us who is the League of Women Voters Montgomery County and what do you do?
Well, the League of Women Voters is an all-volunteer organization of men and women who work to promote voter information, information about candidates, and information about the election process. And we also do studies of issues of interest.
Now, Ralph, you are a centuries old organization. Can you talk a little bit more about the background?
Sure. The League of Women Voters grew out of the suffrage movement, the battle to get women the right to vote. And in 1920, after women had secured the right to vote, the leaders of that organization, that movement, decided we need to study issues. What good is the right to vote unless we know who the candidates are and know what the issues are? So they immediately formed the League of Women Voters of the United States in 1920, and the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County was formed that same year. So they were hot on the trail.
Wow. So since 1920, you've been around. Now tell us, what are your two main areas of focus?
The League does a lot of voter service, uh, most famously our voters guide and our candidate forums, but we also study issues and sometimes take advocacy positions. We focus in Montgomery County, of course, on local issues, uh, county land use policies, such as protecting the agricultural reserve. A number of years we did a great study on transportation in Montgomery County, and we've had a strong position on affordable housing, the need for affordable housing. So the league has taken advocacy positions on those, but always as the result of study and consensus achieved among our members.
Now, Ralph, you mentioned candidate forums and voter services. Now, tell us what will be your primary focus or what are you providing for voters in this upcoming election that will be in November?
We will have, the league is going to provide its voters guide. We hope to have those in our office by October 10th, and we will then be distributing them in libraries, senior community centers, lots of other locations. People can also request a copy from the league office. We put the same information online for people who prefer to access it online on a website, vote411.org. And that information is already live. So we cover everything from president down to the Board of Education and our two ballot questions. And we're also going to be hosting with a lot of other organizations a candidate forum for the Board of Education. In Montgomery County, we have 3 seats open on the Board of Education, and this will be an opportunity for the voters to hear discussion between those candidates on October 9th.
So, Ralph, for the voter guide, is it just background information on the candidates and where they stand on the issues?
We, first of all, for every office, we describe the office so people know what the office is the person is running for, and that gives them an idea of the skills that person should have. Then we invite every candidate to provide contact information, like their website, social media sites, email and phone if they want people to contact their campaign. And then the league asks candidates a series of questions. The first one is usually, what are your qualifications for this office? and then some broad issue questions. We invite the candidates to state their positions on the issues. So uh, through the voter's guide, you get the information about the issues the league asked about. Plus, using the candidate's website, you can dig in for more detail if you want it.
I like how y'all describe the actual positions as well. It's helpful information for voters. Now, with that in mind, what are some of the trending topics that you are currently seeing in election matters?
There's a lot of concern this year, of course, about the risk of election fraud, because there have been a lot of stories about that. The Board of Elections is very vigilant in protecting access to its website and to all of its information, and the whole process of voting is very transparent. Uh, there are a lot of security steps along the way, uh, including some that are in the background that most people just aren't familiar with. The league assists the local board of elections by participating in what we call the polling place support program. The board of elections has a checklist of proper procedures for every precinct, and volunteers from the League of Women Voters cover most of the 250 precincts. We try to hit every polling place. We usually get almost all of them with our checklist, and we check to make sure that all the procedures are being followed and report back to the Board of Elections if there are any issues. And those can be very minor things like there aren't enough parking spaces at this particular location, or the handicap accessible door was not open the way it's supposed to be. Uh, so those are the kinds of issues we check absolutely everything and report it back to the board.
Wow, that's helpful. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the league specifically again. You talked about, being founded in 1920 out of the suffrage movement and just having obviously, decades long experience and commitment to the work. What's your governance structure like?
The League of Women Voters is a very grassroots organization. At our annual meeting, we will elect officers, president, vice president, and a board of directors. The annual meeting also approves the budget, so it's a very grassroots powered organization, and then it's the responsibility of the officers and the board to carry out uh, the mission of the league as best we can.
Now I hear you have a number of different committees as well. Can you talk about some of them and how they are defined within the league?
Sure. We have the usual committees any organization has, of course. We've got a finance committee, we've got a membership committee. Everybody has those. We also have the committee that I chair, the Making Democracy Work Committee. We're the committee responsible for putting together the voter's guide, for conducting voter registration drives, and staffing this polling place support program and organizing the candidate forum. So that's kind of a voter service function. We also have committees that conduct studies and lead our advocacy efforts. I mentioned earlier our work for affordable housing. Uh, the committee will conduct a study about the availability of housing, and taking a look at income levels and distribution around the county. Is there good housing close to where people need to work? So they've delved into all the details of that, and from that have kind of general um, principles that we urge the county to adopt to ensure there will be affordable housing. And then the other example is the agricultural reserve. The league was one of the major um, organizations promoting the establishment of the agricultural reserve to preserve farmland, and continues to be a defender of the reserve. There's always a push to allow more development, and we had to make sure that's consistent with preserving the rural character of the agricultural reserve.
Wow, I think that that's an interesting fact and something I will say I certainly didn't even know. Um, Now, what is your relationship like then with the Montgomery County government?
We have a really close working relationship with the Board of Elections, obviously. They know that we conduct a lot of voter registration because we're turning in voter registration forms across their county pretty regularly. And of course, we work with them on the polling place support program. Um, with the other county government bodies, they're mostly aware that league members are monitoring meetings, paying attention to decisions that are being made, and we're in dialogue with county staff for any of the studies that we conduct. So we have pretty close working relationships with many of the county government agencies.
Now, do you partner with other organizations in the county that are not affiliated necessarily with government?
Oh, yes, yes, we're partnering with Alpha Kappa Alpha on a big voter registration drive. Um, there's also our candidate forum has a huge list of sponsors: Alpha Kappa Alpha, the NAACP, the Links, Metro DCP Flag, the Council, the Asian American Mobilize, Organize, Vote, and Empower, and other, just a lot of other groups. We couldn't fit all of the logos onto the sponsorship page, so those have been really productive, and it's been good for us, and I think helpful to those organizations to work together on the Board of Education forum.
How are you helping younger voters to join the league and make the lifelong commitment to empower voters? Because it's no accident that you've been around since 1920, right? So how are you empowering and helping younger voters?
The main thing we do for younger voters is any student can join the league, our local league, for free. We're about to go through a national reorganization, and they're changing the dues structure nationally. And the goal there will be to have a very low level minimum payment for entry, and then pay as you are able. We're also trying to do a better job of reaching out on social media to get our information out. And that obviously communicates much better with younger voters than with older voters.
Yeah, social media is a really great tool to use, and many people do have access to it. All right, Ralph, my final question for you. How can somebody get involved with the league and stay in contact with you?
The best way to get in touch with us is to visit our website, lwvmocomd.org. You can also call our office, 301 984 9585.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really learned a lot about the League of Women Voters Montgomery County and the work that you're engaging in.
Well, thank you for having me as a guest.
Up next is Fire Chief Corey Smedley and Jim Resnick from the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls: 311. MC 311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Joining me to talk about National Fire Prevention Month is Fire Chief Corey Smedley and Jim Resnick, who's a retired battalion chief and now a fire safety educator. Hi, gentlemen.
Hi,
Hello,
good afternoon, Katie.
good
I'm
afternoon.
so glad that you're both able to be with me today and have this conversation. Well, Chief Smedley, I'll just go ahead and start with you. You're in a new role at the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. Can you talk about it?
So yes, I am in week 11, for Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service, and I can tell you, this has probably been the easiest transition into an organization that I've ever experienced. It has been the easiest transition for a couple of reasons. One, I can tell already this is a great department with a great foundation. They really continue to do their duties and execute their mission without a fire chief for about a little over a year. So the foundation here is very strong, which tells me that they have a great group of professionals doing some great things. Our civilian support staff and professionals alongside our first responders that are paid and our first responders that volunteer. It also tells me that they're supported not only by the community, but the leadership in the county with the council and the county executive's office. So for me, that's why it's been the easiest transition. So I have a lot more work to do, a lot more learning to do, but so far so good.
I'm sure we all like to hear that. Now, tell me a little bit about this. Do you have any priorities that you're going to implement for the department?
Well, first and foremost, I want to put us out of business. And what I mean by that is, we run about 130,000 plus calls a year. And that's a lot of calls. Yes, we have 1.1 million residents within the jurisdiction, but really, I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to prevent you having to call us in the first place. When you call us, we're coming and we're going to help you and fix the problem. But I want to work hard with the team to figure out how we can stop the call in the first place. So that's one of the priorities: is really reimagining what we're doing in the organization, and not only with our response, but paying a lot of attention to our preventive efforts. Some other things I want to do is looking at the culture of the organization. I want our culture to be a culture that others want to emulate and to make people want to come to this organization. So I'm going to look at recruitment, and I've already started to do that. I'm going to look at how we train people. I'm going to look at how we treat people. I'm going to look at how people get into specialty units and be able to do other things that we offer in our department. So those are some of the things that I want to really look at initially, and right now I'm still taking a lot of the intel to kind of validate more information of things that should be done in the organization.
Well, Chief Smedley, that all sounds very exciting, and wishing you a lot of success and continuing to push through as you get towards the first 100 days. I know it'll all be great for you and fruitful. I want to turn to Jim briefly. Jim, you've been on with us a number of times, but if you could just retell our audience what you do in Montgomery County.
Thank you, Katie. It's an honor to continue to work for the citizens of Montgomery County. I started as a volunteer firefighter in 1975. Then I sandwiched my time with the fire and rescue here in Montgomery County as a career firefighter and paramedic, and I retired as a battalion chief in 2014. And I was very fortunate to be able to come back as a fire safety educator focused on fire safety for older adults. And I've been doing that for a little more than the last 10 years. And it's been one heck of an experience. I've met some incredible people and been able to help make an impact in the community in a very, very positive way.
Well, I know I'm having a conversation with the two right people today. We're going to combine your expertise and talk about National Fire Safety Prevention Month. What's the goal of Fire Prevention Month?
Well, this year's theme is smoke alarms, make them work for you. The goal this year's campaign is to educate everyone on making sure they have a working smoke alarm. Ironically, this week, matter of fact, yesterday, I was in the District of Columbia with Fire Chief Donnelly and Deputy Fire Chief McClellan, where we partnered 20 years ago with Pepco and Lowe's, and this was the 20th anniversary where Pepco and Lowe's provide smoke alarms to the three jurisdictions to help them go out to do just that, keep them safe and make them work for you, the smoke alarm. So that was a really good time that we did 20 years, and we hope for 20 years more. We can tell you that approximately every 3 hours in the United States, there's a fire fatality. And we can tell you out of those fire fatalities, about 80% of them, close to 80% of them, do not have a smoke alarm or a working smoke alarm. So smoke alarm saves lives. That's the important message here.
Now, thinking about the goal of Fire Prevention Month, and you telling us about the theme, which is, fire alarms, right? No, smoke detectors. Tell me why it's important.
The purpose of smoke alarms is they give you early warning, which is so imperative because people really don't understand and appreciate fire and how fast it spreads and how deadly it becomes so quickly. The best smoke alarm in the world is the one right here in between our eyes. However, when we're asleep at night, that is not really working for us. And that's why people need to have smoke alarms located in the right locations in their homes. The smoke alarms need to have the correct power source. For some homes, it's going to be a hardwired smoke alarm where it's attached to the home's electricity. For other homes, you need, well, for every home, you need to make sure that the smoke alarms are in the correct locations where they'll alert you and protect your way out of your home. Smoke alarms only are good if they've been tested. And I'm going to make this noise. It's going to be loud. That's the sound that we should hear. And the only way we know it's working is by pushing the button and testing them. And the last thing is, it's important to recognize that smoke alarms have an expiration date. The expiration date is usually on the back side of the alarm, which might require someone climbing up and actually taking a look at it. And then perhaps even writing it on the side of the alarm so you know that it's within the last 10 years. And as the poster behind me says, all smoke alarms must be changed every 10 years.
I didn't even know that fact. So smoke alarms are clearly our first line of defense, the one that, as Jim, as you stated, in between our face, as well as the ones that are in our homes, mostly mounted in our ceilings. Chief Smetley, what are some safety tips, like the life-saving practices that we should be following, in addition to smoke alarms?
So one of the things that I was thinking as soon as Jim talked about that is there's a campaign called Close Before You Doze. So yes, have your working smoke alarms in the right place. They're not expired. They have a battery, all those things. But when you go to bed at night, close your door. I can't tell you how many times we've been on fires, and the rest of the house could be really burnt. A lot, and then we go to an area where the door was closed, and you go and you open it up, and it's looks like it's almost clean, and nothing happened in that home. So I can tell you, close before your doze is one. The other thing I would say is really either use manufacturer's recommendations on equipment and appliances. Um, uh, Talk to us about different safety plans. We can come out to it and give you different tips on how to remain safe in your home, help you establish safety plans, things that you have in the house that you might not think are dangerous, depending on your age group, whether you're young or you're elder or senior. We can provide tips for you to keep you safe in your home. So there are a cadre of things that we can do, and we want to help you in that space. And we would love for you to call us so we can come out and help.
Chief Sarah, I'm going to kick this one back to you again. You mentioned a little bit about statistics in your introductory remarks, but tell me approximately how many home structure fires do you respond to annually? I know you're new on the job, but what do you think that is in Montgomery County?
We're at about 8%, and fact check me on that. We're about 8% of our call volume are actually structural fires. So when you talk about 130,000 plus calls a year, you can do the math on that, and that's significant. Some may be minor, but some are very extensive, and we need to make sure we're doing a lot of due diligence of educating people in that space. And smoke alarms is one of those things that help you. Other things is, I've done talks about things in your home, but there are things outside of your home as well that you need to be aware of. For example, your air conditioning unit. Right now, we're changing into the fall season, so your air conditioning unit is not used as much. But this is the time right now to go and look inside your unit to see if there are critters or birds or nests or debris in there that if there's some kind of malfunction like a weather event and lightning strikes, all that debris in there could cause a fire. And so that smoke alarm that's inside of your home, it's going to be hard for it to detect the fire on the outside of your home. And that fire on the outside of your home can spread inside. So those are a lot of things that you can do by getting a home inspection as well, can help keep your home safe and reduce the vulnerabilities of a fire to occur in your home.
So, Jim, Chief Smalley just mentioned having a home inspection. Can you tell us some other examples of plans that homeowners or renters should be implementing, in addition to, making sure their smoke alarm maintenance is happening as well?
Sure. These are certainly things that a consumer or a resident could do on their own for the most part. And that involves, like I did before, with pushing the button and making sure your alarms work. And we don't want people to necessarily climb up on a ladder or, even, God forbid, a chair or something like that. But that's something that can be done by almost anyone using a yardstick or a broom or an umbrella, something like that, to push the button and check and make sure that they're working. Basically, there's very, very little maintenance that needs to be done on the smoke alarms. Periodically, maybe about once a year or so, either taking a vacuum cleaner with an attachment around your smoke alarm, or maybe getting up on a ladder with a can of compressed air and blowing them out. That way, any dust or pollen or the normal stuff that's in the air around us gets cleaned out, and that makes these things much safer and much more reliable. The other thing people can do, if you can't check them on your own or anything like that, or you need more assistance, any resident of Montgomery County can either call 311 and request that the fire department come out and do a free home safety evaluation, or they can go to our website. And our website is mcfrs.org/mcsafe. And that will take you to a site where you can also go online and request a free home safety check.
What types of other trainings and resources do you offer specifically for older adults?
In addition to doing individual home safety visits like that, our community risk reduction section, which I'm a part of, is thrilled to be able to come to people's communities. And it's whatever you consider your community. It could be your neighborhood association. It could be your place of worship. It could be at a senior center or any place else that people who identify themselves as seniors get together and meet and talk and spend time together. We've done these presentations in neighborhood, in someone's living room, in their house. We've done these at restaurants. We've done these at, as I said before, places of worship. So anyone who's interested in learning a few tips about how they can keep themselves and their family safer, please reach out to us. And you can reach us again by calling 311 and asking to speak to the fire department's community risk reduction section. And I'll even give you another phone number, and that is 240-777-2430.
Last question. Is there anything else that either of you would like to share?
The holidays are going to be coming up soon. That's when we see an increase in fires and other emergencies in the home. We're spending more time in the home. We're cooking more in the home. Practice safety in and around the kitchen. The fire department really hates candles. We love electric candles with batteries and not the ones with real flames. If you're going to use your fireplace during the cold weather months, make sure that your chimney has been inspected. And as Chief Smedley said, things like your heating and air conditioning systems, make sure they're well maintained. By doing that, you're not only keeping yourself safe, but you're keeping the fire service safe too.
Fire Chief Smedley, Jim, it has been a true pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and how we can keep our homes safe. And Chief Smedley, congratulations again on your wonderful appointment to your position. We're wishing you well, and we're so grateful for the task force that is down in the southeastern states helping those who are in need. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that concludes our program for today. As you can see, the voices of those 50 plus matter every day and in every way. To learn more about services for seniors in Montgomery County, please visit the Montgomery County Seniors website by visiting montgomerycountymd.gov/senior or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000. And as always, thank you for watching 50 Plus in Montgomery County.